The Amratian civilization flourished during the pre-dynastic period of ancient Egypt, a time when various cultures were developing and laying the groundwork for the unified Egyptian state. This period, roughly between 4000 and 3100 BCE, saw the emergence of distinct cultural identities that would eventually merge into a single Egyptian civilization. Amratian sites are primarily found in Upper Egypt, particularly around Abydos, a region that later became a significant religious center in ancient Egypt. Abydos was a key location for Amratian settlements, and its importance continued into the Pharaonic era as a site for royal burials and temples. The Amratian period is characterized by the development of agriculture and settled communities, marking a shift from nomadic lifestyles to more permanent settlements. This transition involved the cultivation of crops like emmer wheat and barley, as well as the domestication of animals, which supported larger, more stable populations. Amratian pottery is known for its distinctive black-topped red ware, which is characterized by a dark rim over a lighter body, often achieved through controlled firing techniques. The black-topped effect was created by placing the pottery upside down in the kiln, allowing smoke to deposit carbon on the rim while the rest remained red. Amratian pottery was often decorated with incised designs, created by scratching the surface before firing to create intricate patterns. These incised designs could be simple lines or more complex geometric shapes, adding aesthetic value to the pottery. Amratian pottery was sometimes used for storing grain and other foodstuffs, ensuring a stable supply of food for the community. Large storage jars and containers were essential for preserving surplus food, helping to sustain the population during lean times. Amratian pottery was sometimes traded with neighboring cultures, enhancing economic ties and cultural exchange. Trade in pottery and other goods helped to establish and maintain relationships with other groups, fostering mutual benefits. Amratian pottery was sometimes used in ritual contexts, such as ceremonies and religious observances. Ritual pottery often had specific designs and was used in ceremonies to honor deities or ancestors. Amratian pottery was sometimes used for storing oils and perfumes, which were valued for their aromatic properties and medicinal uses. Oils and perfumes were used for personal care, religious rituals, and medical treatments, enhancing the quality of life. Amratian pottery was sometimes used for cooking and serving food, reflecting its practical and functional use in daily life. Cooking pots and serving dishes were essential for preparing and sharing meals, which were important social activities. Amratian burials often included grave goods, such as pottery tools and personal ornaments, indicating a belief in an afterlife and the need for these items in the next world. These grave goods ranged from simple pots to more elaborate items like jewelry, suggesting a belief in a continuation of life after death. Amratian tombs were typically simple pits or shallow graves, reflecting the early stages of funerary practices that would later become more elaborate. These early tombs were often covered with a layer of sand or stones, providing a basic form of protection for the deceased. Amratian settlements were often located near the Nile River for easy access to water, which was crucial for agriculture and daily life. The proximity to the Nile allowed for irrigation and fishing, essential activities for sustaining the growing communities. Amratian art often featured geometric patterns and stylized animal forms, such as birds and fish, which were common in their environment. These artistic motifs were often incised or painted on pottery and other artifacts, reflecting the Amratians' close connection to nature. Amratian tools were made from flint and other local materials, showing a reliance on readily available resources for their daily needs. Flint was particularly useful for making sharp edges for cutting tools, while other materials like wood and bone were used for handles and other parts. Amratian culture showed early signs of social stratification, with some individuals having more elaborate burials and possessions than others. This stratification suggests the presence of a social hierarchy, with certain individuals holding more power or wealth. Amratian people domesticated animals like goats and sheep, which provided them with meat, milk, and wool. Domestication of these animals allowed for a more reliable source of food and materials, supporting the growth of settled communities. Amratian settlements had communal areas for activities like weaving and pottery making, fostering a sense of community and shared labor. These communal areas were essential for the production of goods and the maintenance of social bonds within the community. Amratian trade networks extended to other regions of Egypt and beyond, facilitating the exchange of goods and ideas. Trade routes allowed for the exchange of materials like obsidian and lapis lazuli, as well as the spread of cultural practices and technologies. Amratian culture influenced later Egyptian dynasties in terms of art and burial practices, contributing to the rich cultural heritage of ancient Egypt. Elements of Amratian art and funerary customs can be seen in later Egyptian dynasties, showing the lasting impact of this early culture. Amratian textiles were likely made from plant fibers such as flax, which were processed and woven into clothing and other household items. Flax was a versatile material that could be spun into thread and woven into various fabrics, essential for daily use. Amratian jewelry was often made from shells and beads, which were valued for their beauty and rarity. Shells and beads were often collected from distant sources, making them valuable trade items and status symbols. Amratian religious beliefs are not well documented, but may have involved nature worship, with deities associated with the sun, water, and animals. Archaeological evidence suggests that Amratians may have performed rituals and ceremonies to honor natural forces and seek their favor. Amratian homes were constructed using mud bricks and reeds, materials that were abundant and suitable for the local climate. Mud bricks provided insulation against the heat, while reeds were used for roofing and wall construction, creating comfortable living space. Amratian society was likely organized into small kin-based groups, with family ties playing a significant role in social structure. Kinship ties were crucial for maintaining social cohesion and ensuring the survival of the group in a challenging environment. Amratian artifacts have been found in both elite and commoner contexts, reflecting the varied social statuses within their society. The differences in the quality and quantity of artifacts found in different burials suggest a range of social classes and roles. Amratian burial sites often contained offerings of food and drink intended to sustain the deceased in the afterlife. These offerings included items like bread, beer, and fruit, reflecting the Amratians' belief in the continuity of life after death. Amratian culture saw the emergence of specialized crafts and trades such as potters, weavers, and toolmakers. Specialization allowed individuals to develop expertise in specific areas, leading to more efficient and high-quality production. Amratian metalworking was limited, with most tools being stone-based, indicating a reliance on traditional materials and techniques. While metal was not widely used, stone tools remained the primary means of performing tasks like cutting and drilling. Fortifications provided a measure of security, protecting the community from both natural and human dangers. Amratian art often depicted scenes of daily life and hunting, providing insights into their activities and values. These depictions offer a window into the Amratians' daily routines and the importance of hunting in their economy. Amratian culture shows evidence of early agricultural practices, including the cultivation of crops like wheat and barley. Agriculture was a fundamental aspect of Amratian life, supporting the growth of larger, more stable communities. Amratian settlements were often situated on higher ground to avoid flooding during the Nile's annual inundation. Elevated locations provided protection from the floodwaters, which were essential for agriculture but could also cause damage. Amratian culture had a significant impact on the development of Egyptian writing, with early symbols and signs appearing in their artifacts. The earliest forms of writing in Egypt can be traced back to the Amratian period, showing the beginnings of a written language. Amratian people used grinding stones for processing grains, a crucial step in preparing food for consumption. Grinding stones were essential tools for turning grains into flour, which was then used to make bread and other foods. Amratian tombs sometimes included miniature versions of everyday objects such as tiny pots and tools, symbolizing the continuation of life in the afterworld. These miniature objects were thought to serve the deceased in the afterlife, providing them with the means to continue their daily activities. Amratian culture is named after the site of El Amra, where it was first identified by archaeologists in the early 20th century. The site of El Amra, located in Upper Egypt, provided important insights into the Amratian way of life and cultural practices. Amratian society likely had a hierarchical structure with leaders and followers, reflecting the complexity of their social organization. Leadership roles were necessary for coordinating activities and making decisions that affected the entire community. Amratian settlements were often surrounded by fields for cultivation, demonstrating their reliance on agriculture for sustenance. Fields were essential for growing crops, and their proximity to settlements ensured a steady food supply. Amratian culture shows evidence of early religious practices, with rituals and beliefs that were integral to their daily lives. Religious practices played a central role in Amratian society, influencing their actions and providing a framework for understanding the world. Amratian people used reed boats for transportation along the Nile, facilitating travel and trade. Reed boats were lightweight and easy to construct, making them ideal for navigating the river and connecting different settlements. Amratian settlements were often strategically located for trade, taking advantage of natural routes and resources. Strategic locations along trade routes allowed Amratian settlements to engage in commerce and exchange with other groups. Amratian culture saw the development of early forms of writing, with symbols and signs that evolved into more complex systems. Early writing systems were used for record-keeping and communication, laying the foundation for later developments in Egyptian writing. Amratian people practiced both farming and herding, combining these activities to ensure a diverse and stable food supply. The combination of farming and herding provided a balanced diet and reduced the risk of food shortages. Amratian tombs sometimes included amulets and other protective items believed to offer spiritual protection in the afterlife. Amulets were often made from materials like faience and were thought to ward off evil spirits and protect the deceased. Amratian culture shows evidence of early trade with the Levant, indicating connections with other ancient civilizations. Trade with the Levant brought in goods like copper and precious stones, enriching Amratian culture and economy. Amratian settlements often had designated areas for waste disposal, reflecting a basic understanding of hygiene and environmental management. Proper waste disposal was important for maintaining a clean and healthy living environment, reducing the risk of disease. Amratian culture shows evidence of early forms of governance, with structures and practices that helped maintain order and cooperation. Governance structures were necessary for managing resources, resolving conflicts, and organizing communal activities. Amratian people used natural pigments for body painting and decoration, enhancing their appearance for special occasions and rituals. Body painting was a form of personal adornment and could have had symbolic or ritual significance, reflecting cultural values and beliefs. Amratian culture, with its distinctive pottery, early agricultural practices, and emerging social structures, laid the foundational elements that would later shape the rich and complex civilization of ancient Egypt.